Hello, my name is Russell Myers, independent for U.S. President for 2024. Well, I'm back at the cabin. The last time I was here when I reviewed the video, the audio was not so great. I seem to have resolved that at this point. Let's talk about inflation and debt. All right, so right now, the Department of Labor is reporting that the unemployment rate is now at 1.1%. And, okay, well, first of all, that's actually not good for workers in the first place. Because what they don't talk about is that this is more than half. Something like 67% of U.S. workers are reporting working fewer than 35 hours a week. Now, of course, 32 hours is officially full-time, but if you and I think of full-time, now in nursing it can be 36 hours a week, but in general most of us think of full-time as being 40 hours a week. So if you're working fewer than 35, then that's not good, especially with the current rate of inflation. Now, if you listen to government numbers, the inflation rate is at something like 3.7%. But that does not include food and energy. Now, these numbers are from August. The numbers for September won't come out until August 12th. According to these numbers, food increased in August by 4.3%. And now they claim that energy was down during August, but during September, we all know that the cost of energy, gas, fuel, electricity went up. So, we're looking at 4.3%. That's for 1 month. That is since the same month last year. All right, so 4.3%. But in the last 3 years, you and I both know that the cost of living, food, energy, housing, etc., including transportation, your cost of living, my cost of living, has risen by 25 to 30% in the last 3 years alone. Okay, so the last 3 years, since 2020, no, I am not going to give credit to 2019. Non-Wall Street aligned economists reported there were so many business closures, over 9,600 business closures in 2019, that non-Wall Street aligned economists called it the retail apocalypse. We saw more retail closures in 2019 than in any year in U.S. history. Over 200 trucking companies went out of business. By September, the Federal Reserve was bailing out failing banks in the repo market bailout, which continued until early this year. That was it's not early last year, but they're still implementing different mechanisms by which to bail out failing banks through the overnight and loan programs, etc. Right now, the interest rate is, somewhere around 5.5%, and the government is having to pay 5.5%, roughly, on U.S. Treasury bonds. So that's money that you have to pay out, that if the government borrows money to pay it back, you're paying 5.5%. The interest on the national debt right now is over $1 trillion a year. So the government has to issue debt to pay off past debts. Yeah, I'm going to say that Bidenomics sucks, but it's really just a continuation that has been going on. We are headed for a major crash. Right now, consumer debt in the United States now exceeds $17 trillion. Meanwhile, consumer savings are at the lowest level since the Great Depression in the 1930s. And we haven't even reached the point yet where the student loan moratorium is ending, which ends this month. The average payment, for student loans is $400 per month. That's money that will not get spent in the economy, which perpetuates or creates jobs. So, Biden just paid off $9 billion in student loans for 125,000 borrowers, mostly disabled and etc. But that money doesn't just disappear. That is money that gets paid to the banks, and so we create more debt to pay the banks. It's not as simple as just writing it off and it no longer exists. That is not how that works. So, yeah, we've got low unemployment, but lower hours, incomes are falling, inflation is rising, and you notice that you never hear about, the inflation rate has gone down, but it never goes negative. You're never going to return to the prices that we were paying for anything, in 2018, 2015, 2000, whatever. The prices, once they go up, are always going to go up. Now, I want you to think about something. It doesn't matter what the Fed's target inflation rate is 2%. Well, let's calculate something. If inflation is at 2%, in 50 years, that equals 100%. That means that in 50 years, everything that you are paying 100% more than you did 50 years ago. But we all know that inflation is typically higher than 2%. Right now, our prices have roughly doubled on our cost of living in the past 20 years. Now, this is a fact. Look at rent. Look at utilities. Look at the cost of food as a whole. So, if you're talking about the cost of living doubling every 20 years, why aren't wages increasing every 20 years? The minimum wage has remained at $7.25 an hour since 2009. So these are all, and the only jobs being created are low wage or contract gig jobs, Uber, McDonald's, or commission work that where you may work for many hours and not get paid at all. Yeah, you have to make a sale. So if you get a $50 commission on one sale, but you work 20 hours, then you got like $2.50 an hour. This is what you try to survive on. Meanwhile, okay, SNAP benefits have increased, but it's also being made more difficult to claim those benefits. And those really don't account for much. And people to claim any government benefits, then you have to show that you are working, looking for work, in a job training program, etc. Well, this goes back to my policy of creating federal jobs. Right now, if you work full-time and yet you make so little that you are eligible for public assistance, what is happening is that we are subsidizing the low wages of companies, large companies, Walmart, Amazon, McDonald's, that post major multi-billion-dollar profits. The CEOs get paid millions of dollars a year while their workers are getting government subsidies. Okay, my idea is let's create government jobs and pay people a living wage, give them benefits like health insurance, life insurance, etc., as part of their employment. Wouldn't that be a lot more realistic than subsidizing corporate profits? Right this minute, the number of small and medium-sized businesses that have declared bankruptcy this year are greater than in 2020. Think about that. What does that mean? That means that small businesses account for 44% of GDP and well over half of jobs in this country. So if these companies are declaring bankruptcy, that means they have to lower wages or lay people off or close entirely. So what does that do to our economy? More than half of Americans polled feel that we are headed for a recession in 2024. I do contend that we have been in a recession for years. We just haven't recognized it as such by the formal definition. But with people struggling, when you look at it at the ground level where the rubber meets the road, we have been in a recession for quite a few years. We never actually recovered from 2008 because all the jobs created since then, the vast majority have been low-wage jobs. And by the way, over 80% of American CEOs believe that we are headed for a recession in 2024. Over 80% of CEOs. Think about that part. So if companies are going to be laying off, people are being left with no incomes, then what's going to happen? They're going to be relying on the government. But then the government is going to say, well, you need to be working or looking for a job when there are no jobs, etc. Okay, let's create jobs and give them jobs. Even conservatives should be able to agree with me that if you want people to be working, then let's put them to work. Yeah, you want to pay out government benefits. You can't leave people with nothing to live on. So let's give them something to do, which helps improve our society. Let's create a public health system. Let's improve our infrastructure. Let's pay our teachers, because teachers are leaving the profession. Nurses are leaving the profession. Even doctors are leaving the profession. So let's create a system where we're benefiting people. Let's provide health care to people that need it. Let's repair our infrastructure. Let's improve our schools. There are so many things that we could put people to work doing, so that, okay, you want people to work for this public assistance? Okay, let's do that directly instead of subsidizing corporations' profits. This is a realistic thing. And some people will say, well, that's socialism. No, that's social democracy. Because the money that these people earn, where are they going to be spending it? They're going to be spending it at small businesses. They may save up money over time and start their own small business. They're going to buy homes and cars, etc. And not only keep the economy going, but expand the economy to make it more healthy. These are realistic. How do we pay for it? Well, look through my policies on stabilizing the economy and tax reform. I'm not going to go into all of that in this video because it would just be too long. And it would be repeating things that I've already, other policies that I've already created. These are realistic ideas. These are things that we could do. These are things that would stabilize everything. Instead of going through this roller coaster where we go through an economic crash every few years. Right now, the crash that is coming for the U.S. economy has been in the works for decades. And it is going to be worse than the Great Depression of the 1930s. Think about it. In the 1930s, we did not have the level of automation that eliminated jobs that we've got today. And that automation is accelerating rapidly. What's going to happen when we have autonomous vehicles driving trucks and buses and just you name it, and all those jobs, tens of millions of jobs, just disappear? What are we going to do? You cannot have an economy without people having money to spend. The entire economy is based on people. Not companies, not corporations, not Wall Street. If people are unable to survive, what is the logical outcome going to be? We are going to have violent riots in the streets if we don't do something now. It's got to happen. Anyway, share this video. Talk about these subjects far and wide. Talk about my campaign. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this campaign. And I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day.